how's it going? Welcome to the fourth episode of the Collective Perspective podcast. I am your host, Anthony, and I'm a little stoned today, but we still gonna get into it. We're really talking about staying consistent, because sometimes it takes a lot longer than you think it will, and it's always important to stay patient and stay focused on what your vision is, in order to not get distracted about to not get distracted in the world of distractions that we live in today. And it really is so easy to lose yourself in where you're heading through all the noise on social media and YouTube and everything else. And just as important, if not more so, is it important to listen to others that have done what it is that you want to do. That's really important in the beginning, but you also need to balance that with listening to yourself, because your entire life comes from you. You're the one that is interpreting all the situations, and you're the one that can do with it what it is that you want to do with it. And even in my experience, even the difficult experiences and the painful experiences can be used to benefit you if you figure out how to learn from them, and to forgive those involved, and to really ask yourself what it is that I brought to the table. Because if you weren't resonating, that's not always the case, but if you choose to be around people that have negative energy, then why? There's some people whose families are really negative, which is understandable, but still, you don't need to be around them. You can still love them, but keep your distance, because it's beneficial for you. And that goes with who you choose to associate yourself with. And that's why I feel like in the beginning, it's really important to question yourself, question whether the people that you associate with you can actually trust or not. And sometimes the answer to that question can be really painful, because that means you have to cut certain people off. But it's necessary in order for you to be your best version of yourself, because you can love those people, but still I'm trying to get that drift in while I'm saying this. You can still love people from a distance. You don't have to associate yourself with these people if they are only bringing you down. Because at the end of the day, you're responsible for how you live your life, and how they choose to live their life is completely out of your control. How they choose to live their life is completely out of your control. They can decide to do whatever they want, and that's not your responsibility. It's always, you can help them, but they need to want to be helped in order to actually change. And if they don't want to change, then that's not on you. That's their own decision in life, and they're gonna face the consequences of their actions. That's just how it is. But it's 100% your choice whether you want to participate in that whole cycle. And it affects you in various ways, and has a butterfly effect on the rest of your life, by you allowing people like that into your life, and allowing yourself to be around people that don't have your best intentions at heart. And at that point, I'd rather be by myself. I don't need to be around anybody. And it's nice, but that's something that has recently changed in my life because I feel there was a large aspect in my life where I did feel like I needed to be around people and I wasn't enough by myself. And I guess it was mainly just because I was unaware of what's inside all of us, and I felt like I needed someone else in order to complete me. I guess is one way to put it. And I still see like some of that needing approval of others in my subconscious. Like I can tell when I interact with someone and I'm like subconsciously, like unconsciously worrying about what they think of me rather than focusing on how I want to portray myself authentically and doing that whether they approve of it or not. And I can like that's like the first step really is becoming aware of the pattern, because then through that awareness you can begin to correct it over time. And that takes time, definitely. It doesn't happen overnight. And if you believe that you'll find it and the universe has your back, you're gonna find the right information that you need. And eventually you'll be able to rely on yourself because there's already infinite wisdom and knowledge inside of you. You just need to be able to differentiate the voices. Because like the ego, the mind in separation is very easily, then you end up getting lost in egotism and grandiosity. But I feel like we're all connected to the infinite, so we have access to this infinite knowledge, and it's really being able to discern what is talking. And you can tell that by the way it feels and it makes you feel. Like feeling into the body, even though we aren't the body, but it gives you hints, is what I have been seeing in myself. And I'm just getting started, so there's probably a much better way to describe it to you than I'm currently saying, but you gotta get started somewhere. And it's more important to get started and stay consistent with it than to be perfect, because over time, the more you do it, the better you'll get at whatever it is you want to do. Because like when I first started trying to drift, I was fucking horrible. I couldn't do it at all. Now I can do it all right. I'm still not perfect, but I'm a lot better than I was before. And that's an important thing to keep in mind, is that these things don't happen overnight. Like you need to practice them consistently in order to get better. And really depending on what that skill is, the more time it will really take in order for you to really develop it. Depends on like what level you're trying to go for. And there's also ways in which you can speed up the learning process, which is something that I have personally been experimenting with brainwave states and all that kind of stuff. I'm just slightly grasping the surface, so I'm not 100% aware of how far we can really take that. Like I've just kind of dipped my toes in the water, and I see it when I feel the difference when I achieve certain altered brainwave states, and like the effect it has on my performance, my mood, my cognition, and all that. And also my ability to stay focused for longer and longer periods of time. Because I feel like that's something that is really lacking in our society, just because we're so used to instant gratification from the internet and like social media, and used to getting instant dopamine hits, rather than being able to sustain that motivation for long periods of time in order to actually actualize a specific project, which is something that I also am working on, and how to consistently move forward, in a way that's sustainable, like not like pushing myself too hard, but in a way that grows me, that I can stay consistent with for like a longer period of time. Ooh, that was a close. Because if you try to do too much change at once, like I try to change my diet, and I mean, you can do these things, but you need to understand your limits in order to really know how much that you can implement at once. Like you can't, like if you are, like it also depends on where you're at. Like if you're like heavily addicted to drugs, then it's going to be a lot harder to do some of these things, because your dopamine system is already fucked up. So your first priority is figuring out ways in order to get dopamine sources from different areas, and that comes with gradually over time, like not just finishing all of it at once. Like it really takes a gradual progression in order to prevent yourself from just instantly sliding back, which is what I've seen in my experience, which is what it's allowed me to not really want to do nicotine, like vaping, for a while, when I at one point in time thought that was like impossible for me. Like there's no way I could do it, or I kept making excuses and all that. But through gradual steps, like not buying my own and just using other people's when I saw it, and really using my awareness to see what it brought me, and like the downsides and like negative effects of it, and not judging myself for doing it, but just watching myself as I do it. And that over time slowly changed it, so I wanted to use it less and less. So I start like it's just a process. It was also because someone I knew closely died of lung cancer, so that was also a strong motivation. And yeah, that definitely played into it. But everyone has their own journey, and I know that if you find strong motivation, you will be able to do it, and it will just take time. And even now, there's still times where I kind of miss it, but I know that it's not worth it, so I just don't go back to it. Also, I've been monitoring the ways in which how I express myself, and that's something I want to focus on, like the ways in which I express myself, and really envisioning the way in which I truly want to express myself, and through awareness, like seeing like where I'm at and where I want to go. And that's also a process. Like that's I watched a video about it's not the it might be the self-actualization. I think it's the self-mastery pyramid, actually. It's a self-mastery pyramid. And it talks about the different levels. I eventually want to learn how to do basic editing, so then I pull up like a picture of like what I mean by that, and go over the different layers. But I'll pull it up so If y'all are interested, you can check it out. About the jellies, I don't have any that are unopened. Someone was just asking about some of the snacks we had. The self-actualization pyramid. Is it I think it's self-mastery. The self-actualization pyramid kind of goes over the different levels of needs of the human being, from the survival needs all the way up to self-actualization and eventually self-transcendence. But I am talking about the self-mastery pyramid. Self-mastery pyramid. Self-mastery pyramid. Yes, and it goes from self-awareness, which is just being aware of like a specific thing in your life, or something new. Like you become aware of how vast you actually are, and how big you actually are, and like how you're truly limitless. And then it goes to self-exploration. Then it goes to self-exploration, which then talks about I'm gonna get better at this with time. Then it goes to self-exploration, which kind of talks about when I'm saying this, I'm just also paying attention to the vocal tonalities that I have when I speak, and I'm really seeing all the ways in which I can do a better job in articulating myself and really expressing the idea. So that is the awareness. I'm aware that it could be done better, or I'm simply aware of how it is that I'm talking right now. Like I'm aware of the tone that I have, which is subcommunicating certain emotions, which you can feel by the way in which I articulate what I'm saying. And then it goes to self-exploration, which is exploring the different ways in which I could say that, or the different ways in which I could say or spread the message that I'm trying to spread, and seeing how vast the possibilities really are with the ways in which I can express myself, like have it be a quicker tone, like really kind of add emphasis to the words, but at the same time I can change that without actually feeling the emotion that it is that I want to convey to you, which will kind of seem mismatched. So like if I'm trying to think of this is part of like the self-exploration. Like you can say it in one way, but you can feel a completely separate way. So that way in which you're feeling the separate way will be more conveyed than what it is that you're trying to say, because that's the underlying tone of what it is that you're trying to say. So in that way, then I can essentially focus on the change it is that I want to, the change in which that I want to convey, which is the core of what it is that I'm trying to say, or which is expressed through the emotion, which can be developed through your focus. So I want to focus on the emotion of self-acceptance and learning and accepting myself the way I am, and that gets conveyed in the way I talk, and the way in which that you see yourself is the way in which others, actually that's not 100% true, but what they perceive and how they treat you is based on how you view yourself. So if you change how you view yourself, rather than, because you are all things, you're all things, you are infinity, so you're all things, and based on what you associate with, what you associate yourself with, you can begin to shift this and choose what it is that you want to associate yourself with. And the more that you feel into this reality, and feel into the version of yourself that you want to become, and take actions from where that is. So if you want to be more physically fit, like a more energetic and healthy person, then you need to first associate yourself with being a healthy person, and then you'll naturally make actions and take actions that align you with being that person. Oh, we spun out. I feel G. Ooh, that was a close one. Let's try to get better at this. Trying to focus on two things at once. It's a practice. Practice makes perfect. You ain't gotta be perfect right now. No one was perfect at any of this overnight. It took practice, and it took consistent focus. And if you're really serious about what it is that you want to accomplish, then you can, but you need to stay focused on what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And if you assume it to already be true, then you'll start seeing the steps that you need to take in order to align yourself with that reality. And if you don't know what it is yet, like if you don't know like how I get there, then accept that you don't know how to get there, and there is someone that has already gotten to where it is that you want to go, so that you can take action towards building the skills that will allow you to be that person, whether you want to be an artist or you want to be like the next Nikola Tesla. Like Nikola Tesla talks about so much of the things I'm talking about, but I mean not all of it specifically, but a lot. I've really listened to a lot of the stuff he talks about, and it talks about frequency and vibration. He said if you want to understand the universe, think about in frequency and vibration, and that's where your brain waves are. In your current state. Oh shit, I spun out. And through awareness you can kind of understand this, because typically in the day-to-day, I want to do some motherfucking racing. Let me change this. I kind of want to end it, but I'm going to keep going because I want to get better at communicating the ideas that I have, because I know that that is a very important skill, and it is 100% worth it. I'm going to drive in the motherfucking Lambo. Never driven a Lambo before. Ooh. I'm like in the interior. the steering in this. It's really nice. Why is it not switching to fifth? There we go. It's so important to take time for yourself, just to understand like where you're at and like your energy. Like that's how I think about it anyway. I'm not saying that being with other people is not extremely fun and very rewarding, because alone we're powerful, but together we're unstoppable in creating things. And together we can really create a massive change in this world. And I feel like we can all make the change just by, why is this not switching to fifth? There we go. We can all make a massive change. Like even if you think you're small and you are insignificant, just look at the butterfly effect. The butterfly effects. Just look at the butterfly effects. About how even the flap of a butterfly's wings can make a massive change somewhere else in the world. So think about that with the actions that you take every day. Like just smiling at that cashier, just treating them like a human being, like a soul, a part of yourself. That makes such a big difference. Like it makes a massive difference. Because they could have been having a bad day, and like you just made their day, and then they ended up making the day of someone else. That was lag. It's alright. And they could affect someone else, and because they're in a good mood, they could pass that on and pass that on, and has a ripple effect. And by the ways that like you change how you view yourself and view other people, it really does have a massive effect. Like when you start changing yourself and the ways that you interact with yourself and the ways that you interact with the world, it has a massive impact. Like you literally see things changing in front of you, and it's crazy. This is so fun. Before I die, I want to go 200 miles per hour. Probably not on a road, because I don't want that to happen. I want to get better at this angle, so that when I get a fast car, I'm not gonna die instantly. I drift in a Lambo. Do a e-drift. Clutch kick, e-drift. Oh shit. Nope. Make a Lambo drift car. I'm gonna change this. What should I drive? I'm gonna drift in the little Beamer. And it's really about learning to really love yourself and to be your own best friends. Because if you can't be your own best friend, then how is anybody else gonna be able to support you? Because you don't even support yourself. And also importantly, how are you gonna support anybody else if you don't support yourself? Because like that can think of that as selfish, like, oh, you want to focus on yourself, but like if you don't, then you can't help anybody. So that's why it is really important to focus on being the best version of yourself, That's not only just for yourself, but for everyone else as well. Cause like that's what really helps me. Really helps me stay consistent. Because like sometimes you gotta do things like you don't want to do, and like you won't feel like it. Like you won't feel like going to the gym, or you don't feel like really going through it with quitting nicotine or changing your lifestyle completely, or facing your fears or whatever it might be. You might be scared, you might not want to do it, it might be painful for you, but really learning how to stick through to the ends. It's just it's hard to what I'm talking about is real shit. It's hard to take it seriously when I'm fucking drifting this little little ass thing. What does it look like inside? Oh my god, this is fucking stupid. Oh shit. And really seeing that the things that you do in your life have an effect on everyone else around you. Like you can't expect other people to change if you don't change yourself. Like you have to be the example. And whether they want to take that example or not is 100% their decision. Like they might not want to give up certain things in their life, or they might not want to change. The change would be too painful. They can't face themselves. They can't face the depths of their own shadow, so they repress it instead, which is understandable really. It is painful sometimes, but it is beautiful in facing it and really going into it, because in facing and loving it, you can transmute it and remove its power over you, which is really beautiful, because then you can really take control of your life rather than having the lower parts of yourself control you. And that's really a process. It is really a process. Like I struggle with that. I think every day. I struggle with it every day. But every time you do it, you stay with it to the end. Despite the urges and despite the temptations and the doubts and the sometimes pain of it, it builds something inside of you that's really beautiful. And you really need to believe that you can do it, because I know that you can do it. I know that you can do it. But you need to believe that for yourself. Because I can say that all day, and if you don't believe that you can truly do it, you won't stick into the ends. That's just how it is. You won't stick to the ends. And so then it is a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you don't stick to the end. That basically confirms your own self-image of who you are. Whereas if you simply change your self-image to someone that does and stick with it over time, it won't happen like that, but the more you do it, the more it'll just become natural for you. Like the more these things will just become natural. It'll just become a natural way that you live your life. And that's beautiful, it really is. It's a process. You gotta believe in yourself. That RX-7 looking pretty litty. That McLaren looking pretty litty as well. I'm gonna jump in the motherfucking RX-7. Ooh. I'm gonna pop that bitch in third gear. I love the way this feels. Pop in fourth. Hit it with a clutch kick. Counter steer. E-drift. This is so fun. I will learn how to put up pictures, because I got I have a few pictures in my mind about like the different stages of learning a skill, which kind of plays into what it is I'm talking about. It's like at first you have the fear, and then you have the doubt, and then you have the hope, and then you start to get better at it. Like I can't remember exactly what it is. But I mean, as I do this more, I'll definitely refine what it is I'm saying, and refine the videos, and just myself overall, which will be reflected in the way in which I communicate on here, and in life in general. Like, you can really read a lot about a person by the way that they convey themselves, and so you can take that for yourself. And even if you don't consciously know some of these things, you can start to see things in yourself, like emotions stored in the body, and it is reflected in the way in which you hold yourself, like tension and uncomfortableness and like tension, really. Like, you can really like, that's usually a sign of something that you haven't resolved, or something in your subconscious that is causing discomfort inside of you. I'm curious, what time are we at right now? We're at 36. I got more time than me. I got at least 45 minutes. Gotta push yourself. We're limitless. The only limits are the ones that you accept for yourself. I mean, you can push your limits and create new limits. I mean, it depends on what you consider a limit. Because it's not like you're limited to get the car, but there's certain steps that you need to take in order to get you to that direction. Like, just because you aren't in California right now doesn't mean that it's not achievable to get there eventually. But you can't just go to California by sitting on your ass and doing wishful thinking. Like, you have to have a plan. Like, you need to be like, alright, so this is where I am now. I'm here. This is where I am. This is the destination in which I am at this present state. This very second. This is where I am right now. Being honest. Not beating yourself up. But being honest with yourself. Like, I'm honest with myself. Like, I make fucking shitty decisions sometimes. Like, I end up making excuses and not sticking to what it is I tell myself I'm gonna do. And rather than beating myself up and being like, oh, I'm weak, or like blah blah blah, or this and that, trying to judge myself, just be straight up with myself. Like, okay, I said I was gonna fast today, but I ate. I love myself where I'm at, but I can't keep doing this. Like, it's not just with the food, but it's like I need to be able to trust myself. I need to be able to trust myself, and like what I say, I'll actually do. So being like, okay, so why did I allow myself to do it? And then beginning to change your self-image to someone that sticks with things until the end. Like, it really starts with like who it is that you identify with, because you're all things. So yeah, there's a version of you that gives into these temptations. There's also a version of you that sticks to the end and gets shit done. Right now, there's a version of you like that right the fuck now. So accept yourself where you are and begin to align yourself with this version of yourself slowly over time, and through persistently staying in that identity, you will eventually begin to identify with that identity, and then the actions that you have from that identity will begin to reflect what it is that you're doing. Excuse me. To get a quick sip of water. And also understand that these things don't change overnight. Like, your subconscious has a lot of things built in through repetition. That's why staying consistent is so important, because that's what allows you to... Wait, hold on. Hey! Yes. I love the pop-up headlights. Well, I'm gonna try to do this at a separate angle so I can see this. And that's also why you shouldn't beat yourself up for not changing like that, because a lot of these things are really ingrained in you. Like, responses to certain situations in your life. The way in which you believe that you are, what you believe to be possible for yourself, who you believe you are, like your sense of identity, how you view other people. These are all ingrained in you. How you believe the world to work, how you believe reality to work. These are all what works in society and what doesn't, like the list goes on. These are all ingrained in you. These have all been ingrained in you since you were young. These patterns have been ingrained in you. I'm not saying that, oh no, now you can do nothing. No, you need to take responsibility for it and really dive into your subconscious and begin to shift these things and reframe them for yourself. Like, not denying them, but really accepting and loving them, but reframing them in a way in which that is beneficial for you and your goals that you're trying to accomplish. Fuck, I love those pop-up headlights. That looks so cool. I want to see if... It looks like a motherfucking face. I love that. Like, you can make excuses, but like that won't change. That won't change anything. Like, I can say that, oh yeah, doctors said I have ADHD, so I guess I can't stay focused, or it'll be harder for me to stay motivated on things, like the fucking victim. Or I could be like, nah, like, it is what it is. What am I gonna do about it? Like, how am I gonna get even better? Like, how am I going to improve my ability to focus and stay on topic? And also, like I used to do like a lot of like drugs and shit, and like that really fucked up my motivation and my sense of happiness. But now that I'm off it, it definitely, I'm grateful that I didn't get stuck. And I'm grateful to the other people that have been in my life that have been able to get away from those substances and really live their life. And I don't think it fried my brain, because that's not what I focus on. I focus on getting better every day, which I do. But if I focused on me being fucked up, then of course I'm gonna find ways in which I'm fucked up. You feel me? What are you paying attention to? Because what you focus on, you bring more of in your life. There's depths to this. There's deep depths, because this is a motherfucking dream. This is a real dream. We can change it slowly over time, like living lucid. That's how I see it. Oversteer. And also I'm seeing more and more that even what you consider failure is not failure. You're just finding, like, if you're truly dedicated to learning, you're just finding ways that don't work. And you keep experimenting until you do find something that does work for you. And you already know. You just need to stay consistent with yourself. And I know there's a deeper part of you that you aren't connected with, and that I am still every day connecting with. And the more that you begin to trust this deeper part of yourself to really give you the guidance that you need in your life, the more that you'll begin to notice which it is that you need to listen to. Like, you can begin to discern and feel the difference and the different aspects of yourself that show up. I'm trying to get this better. I'm trying to do at least one rounds. Nope. See, I'm focused on not doing it perfectly. Now I'm trying to visualize what it would look like to do it perfectly around without spinning out. Give into the flow. Give into the flow of it. I missed that. I'm still just tapping into, like, how far this can actually go. I don't even know how far it can go, really, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, the deeper I go, like, the deeper I see it goes. And, like, I know that there is no end and there is no limit to it. Because we're attached to the same force that created this entire universe. And through connecting to this, we can begin to understand more about ourselves and what is best for us on our journey. Because I cannot tell you what is best for you on your journey, because only you can know this. You have the answers that you need, and if you don't, you'll find them one way or another. As God communicates, if we are able to know how to listen, He's able to connect with us. If not, He will connect with us through other people, which I found beneficial before I really understood how I can, because I still don't fully understand how to tap into my power, and I'm still seeing it every day. It's a process, and really removing those negative thought patterns that really limit me and prevent me from being that best version of myself, and also just loving myself for where I'm at. And loving the process as much as the destination is something that I have been learning it's definitely satisfying. And it's even like learning to love the parts that are difficult on the journey, like the parts which when you want to give up and you don't want to keep going, and when you're tired and you just want to just stay in bed, and learning how to get that and make it so jump out of bed first alarm. Like that's something I'm working on that I've done once recently, and then other times I've allowed myself to delay it and keeping it real with myself and not beating myself up about it, but like that's where the self-love comes in, because you really need to love yourself. Like discipline is great, but if you don't love yourself, you're just gonna turn into a motherfucking dictator. You aren't fluid, so you can't really change yourself easily. But at the same time, you don't want to be too fluid where there is no structure at all. So there's a balance that needs to be found between those two aspects. Trying to drift around them. I got it. Because I believe that we're all infinite. And we're all connected to the divine. We're all divine. We're all divine beings. Even those that don't do good, because they aren't aware. Or they aren't aware that they aren't aware. There's levels to it. I'm not aware of other things that I'm aware, but I'm aware that I'm not aware that I'm not aware. So I stay open to it. Like everything I know could be wrong, but from what I've seen, it isn't. From what I've seen so far, I'm seeing the change that I'm talking about, and it's really amazing. And it doesn't happen overnight, but it definitely happens slowly and progressively as you start to change the way in which you relate to yourself and what you envision for yourself and what you believe to be possible. Like, it is really beautiful. I'm at 53 minutes. Hey, I'm gonna race this bitch a little bit, and I'm gonna hop off. Get a little bit of drifting. And like I'm still not that good at drifting, but I'm a lot better than I was. Probably every single episode I'm gonna get a little bit better. I will get a little bit better every episode. You'll watch it. Oh shit, like. And sometimes also, I felt like I needed to say this. But sometimes it's necessary to take like what's perceived as a few steps back in order to really move forward. And like our egos can really think that we're like digressing, but it could be exactly what we need in order to really see things for as they are and really move forward, because we can see all the ways in which we're sabotaging ourselves and why that is and what it is. Why is it not switching the fit? There we are. And it's always nice to take a few steps back, because you can really see where you're at right now and begin to process that. And that don't think that you always need to be constantly moving forward, because that in itself can be toxic as well. I see that. That in no way is promoting complacency, but it definitely can be detrimental to always be pushing yourself. Like, you definitely need time sometimes to reflect and see what's working and what isn't. Ooh. Switch to 6. Come on, switch 6. Why is it? Is it only a 5-speed? Oh, it's only a 5-speed. Oh, like. Yo, I'm gonna cut it off at that crash. I hope you're doing amazing on your journey. I want you to know that I believe in you and whatever it is that you want to do. Just stay on it. Even if you don't get results at first, just stay persistent and stay consistent with it, and use your mind to really envision it. You'll be guided to the way in which is best for you, and really learn to tap into your intuition and to your deeper aspect of yourself through meditation. Is something I highly suggest. But I'm grateful to be able to talk with all of y'all. I hope you found something of value during this episode, and take care, peace and love, and together we can make love prevail.